Hi guys, today I want to talk to you about weight loss, and I know this is such a hot topic, and especially in the summer everybody's talking about. And usually I have two category of people who they're already doing everything they can and they don't know why why they don't achieve their perfect weight, or people that just don't know how to do it. And I want to tell you that in my experience, about 99% of people know what they supposed to do, know how they supposed to eat, how they supposed to exercise. And only about 1% of the people truly doesn't know what to do. And then my question is, if everybody knows what to do and how to do it, then why are we not sticking with our plan, with our goals? And some people say, I lack the motivation, I don't have willpower, and it has nothing to do with willpower. I consider highly performing professionals like lawyers, physicians, educated people, teachers, those are the people who went through years and years of school and training, and you must have willpower to be able to sit through the board for a physician or for a lawyer. And if the only thing was the willpower, then there is no way you would have an overweight, obese physicians and lawyers. And yet, if you look around yourself, obesity affects every walk of life, every person you know, every social, racial, gender. There's no discrimination in obesity. And today I want to talk to you about what is the hidden causes in our psychology? Why can we not lose weight? Before we start, I want you to ask yourself a question: how long have you been trying to lose weight? And I ask it every my patient, and most of my patients. And well, I started diet 3 months ago. But honestly, when was the first time ever you thought about you need to lose the weight? And most of the people, they would answer is like, when I was 16, since I was 22, or after I had a baby. When did you have a baby? Well, I had a baby when I was 32. How old are you now? 65. So people are trying to lose weight for 20, 30, 40 years in a row, and still they're not successful. And imagine how much energy you lose. For 30 years you're trying to lose weight. You direct your thoughts, you direct your energy into weight loss. And imagine 30 years thinking about, I need to lose weight, and then it doesn't become true. And this energy that you can have directed into business, into vacation, in a new project, in new ideas, like that goes into, I need to lose weight. How can I lose weight? And we're also looking for the magical pill, like Harry Potter, let me wave the magic wand and the weight is going to go away. So I want to talk to you today about hidden causes. Why are we holding into weight? I hear a lot of people, I'm eating healthy, I'm not overeating, and I cannot lost weight. I'm like 1800 calories diet and I don't lose a pound. And I used to joke with the people, do you absorb calories and water and energy from the air? And I was making fun of my patients, like almost like being sarcastic about it. And like, if you're not eating, there is no way you are not losing the weight. But I actually found out it's not true, and some people truly stick with their diet and they still cannot lose weight. And physiologically, we talk about hormones, we talk about a different rate of metabolism, but I really want you to ask yourself, I'm going to list multiple examples of my real patients, true patients, and I kind of gather close to 20 reasons why people like holding onto weight. And when you listen to me today, when I'm showing you, like giving you an example of my real patients, I want you to see if you recognize yourself as one of these examples. And if you're not, if it's something else, please get back in touch with me and let's discuss your other alternative. But let's start. So reason number one is to feel more important. So a lot of the time, when child is neglected, when child is misunderstood, we have a saying that you have to be big to be good, okay? Like goodness should be overwhelm the world, okay? And like having this belief that having more weight, Like nobody listening to your opinion. You're a child. Parents decide what kind of room you have to have. Teacher decide you have to learn this material, and you have nothing to say. But you want yourself to be heard. And child get this concept that adults, big people, they actually heard. They have weight. They have an opinion. They have a right to be heard. And child make this subconscious connection. Then in order to be heard, in order to be have a choice, in order to be part of the selection process, I need to be big. And this subconscious stays with us for the rest of our life. So if you one of these people that possibly feel neglected, possibly like you feel you don't matter, nobody listens to you, this is actually one of the reasons some people subconsciously hold on to weight, to be physically bigger, to occupy more space, and that's why they cannot release weight. And this type of people, no matter how restrictive in their diet they are, they're not restrictive in their thoughts. So the body protects itself with the weight. So never humiliate yourself or other people about fat. Fat is actually good. Fat is a protective layer. And this is coming to the next reason. Some of the people really protect with the weight against different abuse, emotional abuse or physical abuse. And we have this expression, thick skin. Okay, so people don't want to feel anything, and when people are emotionally abused or mentally abused, they literally physically in their body, in their physical body, growing this fat to protect themselves. Remember the child that is being bitten or be physically abused, and so fat actually softens the blow. Or again, coming back to reason number one, feel bigger, feel more important. The child who's been abused is now holding on to weight because it makes him protected from the physical abuse. And the same way with emotional abuse, we are living in the world of energy. Everything is energy of us. If you are in need of this psychological protection because you experience psychological abuse, you will build the walls around you, and literally these walls become the wall of fat around you. The next reason is it's kind of like build up on the previous reason. It's protect from the sex. And surprisingly to me, most of the time, men use this excuse to hold on to weight. Like, man is overworked, man is stressed, he comes home, he does not want to have sex, but partner is offended, and we grow the layer of fat to be less attractive. It also happens with the women who were sexually abused. Now I'm going to be fat, so I'm not attractive anymore, but it also sometimes masks the guilt. And this is tied into next reason. The next reason is punishment. A lot of people put on weight to punish themselves, and it's kind of like sound weird, like why would you want to punish yourself? But a lot of the people, like, first of all, like, everybody knows about this masochistic ideation, and sometimes you're not like true masochist, or it's like sadomasochist, but this is like your cover up, right? You need to punish yourself for something, and you invent those reasons. And sometimes it's a psychological dependence because you grew up in a family and an environment you were punished all the time. And this is something that your body is so used to. This is something that your body can now no longer live without. And you're bringing the situation back because just something that is familiar, it's something that is convenient. And if this punishment situation is familiar to you, you are trying to recreate itself. And it's also, have you heard about this role model or mindset of victim, like being victimized? So victim need punishment. So if some people used to this mindset of victim, this is also the reason to get overweight, overeat as the punishment. And the opposite to being victim is actually pleasure. And food, a lot of pleasure from the moment we are born. Imagine mother holding the baby and mother breastfeeding the baby and mother giving either breast or bottle to the baby. It's not just the food at this moment. Is somebody's holding this baby and looking at this baby and saying, "Oh my beautiful baby," and you cuddle the baby and you pet the baby, and this create this psychological loop that when you're given the food, it automatically comes with a pleasure. And it's actually reinforced over and over in our life, because when we get married, we get food. When any kind of like happy event happen, birthday party, it's a food around, people celebrate. So we always associate food with pleasure, and it's good. Food should be pleasure. You should be enjoying the food. The problem becomes when you're not allowing yourself any other pleasure, and the food is only pleasure that is left. Personal example, I'm so busy, I can't go to massage, I can't get rest, I can't get sleep, I can't go on this vacation because I'm so busy. I'm so busy studying, I'm so busy building business, I'm so busy taking care of 3 children, I'm so busy of like making my house pretty, and I'm not allowing myself any other pleasures, and the only thing that I'm left with is the food. And of course, I'm gonna overcompensate because there's no other pleasure allowed, and body physically needs pleasure. And if the only thing that I'm allowing myself is the pleasure, then it's going to be pleasure, and it's going to be over pleasure. Next reason for holding onto extra weight is literally storage. And storage can come from different psyche. So, reason number one, you were very, very poor and you didn't know when the food is coming. So I'm gonna eat because tomorrow I may not have food. The other reason, you had multiple siblings, and you would come home from your dance and the chocolate cake that grandma baked is gone because 5 other siblings already ate it. Or you got divorced, and this is instability. I don't know what's gonna come tomorrow, so I'm gonna eat today to protect myself because I don't have this self-confidence, confidence in my future. So food and this extra layer of fat actually provides stability, because if the famine is coming, I'm gonna be good. I have storage. So storage and this mindset of scarcity and not knowing what's gonna happen tomorrow is the big reason for many people to actually store in the weight. So far we went over 6 reasons, and if you recognize yourself in one of this example, one of these people, please leave me a comment. I really want to know if we're hitting some points. And it's also for you to kind of like give yourself a moment and assess yourself and what is going on with your life. But we're moving on. Unfortunately, next one is grief and loss, and it's 2 different reasons, but they can come together. So loss can be different loss of the house, loss of the job, loss of the person you love the most. And people go through different stages of grief. There's the 6 normal stages of grief. It starts with denial and bargaining and being angry, and then it's normal grief, and it goes away, and kind of like you settle with what happened, and it takes different time for different people. Some people can go through the grief within a couple of weeks. Sometimes people take a couple of years, but grief eventually goes away. And the way you handle your grief and loss depends how the other part of your life are built around. Because for some people, there is a 2 possible outcome regarding into holding the weight and regarding into gaining weight and becoming obese and overweight. So one possible reason is you're so grieving about the person that you lost that you want to join this person, and life loses meaning, and you start eating because you don't want to live anymore. So you want to, some people drink themselves to death, and this is how you become alcoholic. And alcoholism and obesity obesity and overeating is actually a very common root. It's addiction to alcohol versus addiction to food. But some people drink themselves to death and some people eat themselves to death. So this is one of the negative way people come out of the grief. And the other way is because you're missing the thing so much, the thing that you lost so much, or the person that you lost so much, that you are coming back to reason number 5, and this is the pleasure. Because you had this loss, you're not allowing yourself to be happy. Like you can't go and go dancing because you're supposed to be grieving, okay? You can't allow yourself to go and enjoy vacation because, well, you lost the job. How can you have a vacation? And so we're coming back to the reason number 5, and it's a pleasure because you're locking yourself and not allowing yourself to have the pleasure because of the grief and loss. You're actually converting the food to the only pleasure you can have. And we come to the next reason number 9. This is my absolute favorite. I think this is the most common reason. And I had, partially guilty, like I had this reason. And it's you are part of the family. And you can't imagine how many times I tell people, oh, you need to lose weight. And the first thing I hear, oh, it's impossible. My mom was fat, my grandmother was fat, every woman in our family is fat. And, oh, I blame genetic. And people blame genetic. And there's a 2 point I want you to tell you about genetic. So most of the time it's actually not a genetic. It's less than 1 in a million genetic. Everything else is not genetic. It's your habits, and it's how you grew up, and how you used to eat, and how you communicate with your family, and how your family guilting you into eating. But it's mostly habits, but it's very distinct. Another reason about why can you not lose fat and become skinny when the rest of your family is obese. And it's because we want to belong. We're all social people. We need to belong, and belonging to the family is one of the strongest pull, one of the strongest primal instinct. And you can't lose the family. And a lot of the people feel like if I'm gonna lose weight while all of my family is obese and overweight, and again, it's not conscious that people don't understand it. They don't come and tell me that this is what is gonna. This is on a very deep subconscious level. They can't let go of that weight because then they will be different from the rest of the family. And yes, they come to me with, I want to lose weight. They're self-sabotaging themselves. They can't understand why they're self-sabotaging themselves. And the reason is, I want to be like my family. I don't want to be black sheep of the family. And if all family is big, and I'm going to lose the weight, then I'm not going to be part of the family anymore. And this is very strong belief that does not allow people to lose, to part with this extra weight. And reason number 10, we're moving on, is fear to be lonely. And fear to be lonely, again, comes a little bit with the previous, with part of the family, but it's also how we socially interact. You know, like when you ask a person on a date, most of the time, at least first date or at least couple days in all of your dating, it's going to be dinners. You go to dinner, you go to lunch together, you want to discuss business meeting, let's have a lunch together. You have a birthday party, let's have a meal together. You have a wedding, let's have a celebration, we're going to have food together. Somebody dies, it's a funeral, and what do? We bring food. So food to us is community, is connection, and to part with food, it's such a deep subconscious no that people just can stop doing this. People continue eating because this is bringing the sense of the community. Big example for this, if people cannot refuse to go to lunch with a colleague or partner, even if just had a lunch. And even if they go to lunch, people cannot just sit there and say, I'm not hungry, I just had a lunch, I'm just gonna, guys, sit here and enjoy company with you. Again, This is such a simple thing, realizing when you're not hungry anymore. If I just completed my lunch, and I'm totally guilty of this, I would bring the lunch from my home, eat my lunch in the office, then my partner ophthalmologist from next door say, oh, let's go to lunch. I'm like, oh, let's go to lunch. And then I could have gone to lunch with her and instead of like, no, I ate, let me drink a tea. No, but I eat with her again because it's a sense of the community, it's a sense of belonging, it's a sense of not being alone. And if you are one of this person who can go to lunch or to dinner with your friends after you already had dinner and still eat more dinner, please let me know in the chat. Reason number 11, and again, personally, I'm guilty of this one, it's nostalgia. So nostalgia is very, very common about immigrants. I am an immigrant, and I actually go to an international store and I would buy and eat the food that I never loved in my home country before, but because it's a cultural tradition, and we're going back into belonging again. So I want to belong, this is my country, this is nostalgia, so I want it. This is me, but I'm going to tell you an example which I think many people will recognize themselves into this. It's this smell of grandma pie or mother's cooking, and you actually just came from lunch and you walked into your mom's house and you sense this something that she cooked from your childhood and you're hungry again. And it's actually not a hunger, it's a nostalgia. You want this good times, and your body does not recognize it as a nostalgia, as sitting with your mom and remembering episodes and remembering friends and family and just sitting and communicate. It's so much easier to satisfy this nostalgia with just this beautiful pie that your mom made. And it's also tied into next. So next one is reason number 13, and it's very, very popular in the United States. It's reward. So you're in the school, you got A on your test, here's a candy for you. After the school, you go to the dance class, good job, here's a candy for you, okay? We're trying to change this culture now, but unfortunately our generation is already so engraved into us that every achievement is a reward. Think about you graduated. What is it? It's the party with the cake. Okay, so it's a reward. Birthday, again, reward. You get promotion at work. Cake at your workplace, but then you also come home and your family, we're so proud of you, here's the cake for you. So reward again. And sometimes it actually comes to absurd. I actually have a client who would go on 2 weeks juice cleanse, and then she rewards herself with the cake after completing 14 days of green juice. She feels so proud of herself, so empowered, that she goes to the Whole Foods and buy the cake, and this is her reward. Because sweets, sugar, but it doesn't have to be sweets or sugar. It's any food can become a reward. Next one, number 14, and please let me know if you are recognizing yourself in any of these scenarios, is be the good girl or be the good boy. And it starts with when you're a baby and mom sits with the broccoli and does the helicopter, and helicopter comes to your mouth and you chew the broccoli and say, oh, good boy. Okay, and then it goes into when you're like 5 years old and like, I don't want to eat, I'm not hungry, and mom goes, okay, if you finish this plate, you're gonna get ice cream. If you eat your dinner, you can go have a playtime. If you complete the meal, you're gonna get some reward. But then it goes even more into the adulthood with mother that comes to you and say, how can you do this to me? I slaved over this dinner for 3 hours. Please eat it. And you want to please your mother, or you want to please your grandmother who baked the special cake just for you. You're not hungry at all, but you have this I want to please my mom, I want to be a good girl, or I want to be a good boy. I'm not hungry, I just had a lunch. But you come home and your wife just cooked dinner, and your wife says, I just slaved 3 hours in the kitchen, and she's like really offended, and you sit down and you eat because you want to be a good boy and you don't want to disappoint your lovely wife. um, Difficult situation. We're all kind of been in this situation, and nothing you can do in that moment, but you actually can have a conversation about this with your mother, with your wife, with your husband, for somebody with anybody in your life who shows their life, who shows their love by sharing the food with you. And we also have these colleagues at work. We come with the peanut butter cookies, and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, like I don't eat sugar." And I'm like, oh, "But I cooked it just for you." And then you feel so guilty and so obligated to at least try this cookie and derail your diet and everything. The next is reason a little bit controversial. It's actually fear of success. So difficult to understand, but I'm gonna try to explain as much as I can. So sometimes when you're afraid that you're not gonna succeed, you find yourself an excuse. So fat, being overweight, being not like everybody else, becomes an excuse. You didn't get hired for a position, and like, okay, who's gonna hire such a fatty? You don't wanna play with your kids because you have like other needs, right? So it doesn't make you a bad mother, but you don't accept yourself, and you were like, okay, well, they like, I can't play because like I'm fat. And so being fat becomes an excuse for all of the different circumstances in your life when you can try something, achieve something, but because you're afraid not to get the success, you actually use your weight as an excuse. Even something simple like, oh, let's go dancing, and fear to be rejected or fear to be not performing very well. I'm like, no, like when I'm gonna lose the weight, then I'm gonna go dance with you. Let's go to the yoga class. No, I'm so big, people are gonna laugh at me. I'm not gonna go to yoga class. And like, you don't want to go, like, this is not the excuse not to go to yoga class. I'm talking about when you actually don't want to go to the yoga class. But instead of telling your friend and admitting your feeling, yoga is not for me, you are telling your friend, no, I'm too fat. When I'm gonna lose weight, then I'm gonna go to yoga. What is your subconsciousness saying? Oh my God, she's gonna make us go to yoga. Okay, let's never lose the weight, because if we lose the weight, we have to go to yoga. This is what your subconsciousness thinks, and no matter how hard you try, your subconsciousness is always trying to protect you. And if you lie to yourself, then this becomes an issue, your body trying to protect you from you. So our extra weight is always a protection from something else. And it ties into the next reason, it's fear to be overpraised or fear to be underpraised. And sometimes it's actually, it comes from the childhood and from people who were underpraised. They are afraid that if they lose weight, that's actually gonna be the reason for praise. And if no one is gonna praise me, then what's gonna happen? I no longer have excuse, so I'm gonna devalue myself. And it also works with overpraised kids, like kids who are constantly praised and say, oh my God, you're the best, you're so smart, look at you, you're phenomenal, you're gonna be a millionaire, you're gonna be so successful. And the child grows up and something happened, child is not as successful as mother predicted and mother saying, and the child thinks, I have been lied my whole life. All of these praises, everything when they told me that I'm beautiful, they lied to me. Like, I didn't get to be an actress, I didn't get to get a model, I didn't get to get a prima ballerina, and they were telling me I'm the best. So all of these lies let me gain weight, so I never have to hear all of this like stupidity, all of this nonsense again. And again, that I'm explaining to you deep psyche subconscious. So this is not the people who actually realize that, oh, this is why I'm doing this. This is how subconscious wraps around and go in the back door and sabotaging you. And this is why you're finding excuses to sabotage your diet, find the excuse to not to go to the gym, find the excuse to have an extra piece of cake. So those are deep level reason, deep level beliefs that causing all of this superficial problems. So we're moving next, and we kind of talked about family, but I want to talk right now about generational trauma. So nobody, like you personally, distinguished from previous, like from fear to lose the storage, to belong to the family. So you personally, as a child, never been hungry, never been poor. You always had everything you want, and all of a sudden you gaining this weight. Okay, this is actually can be generational trauma, meaning grandmother survived the war. Grandmother was hungry. Grandmother survived the famine. And now this grandmother, every time you don't eat, grandmother is like, bad girl, how can you throw away the food? Do you know that during the Second World War, I ate rats and pigeons, and you are ungrateful person. You're not want to eat this. You must eat. Do never throw away the food. You must finish your plate. You cannot get off the table until you finish this plate. And this is actually goes, it can be multiple generations. Usually it lasts approximately 3 generations. So if anybody 3 generations ago had this big trauma, this person is going to pass it to sons and daughters, and then it's also going to pass it to grandson and granddaughter. So even if personally you did not survive it, it can be passed, and usually 3 generations, but some cases multiple, 6, 7, 8 generations. Next one, we're moving to number 19. We're almost over. Okay, we have 3 more reasons. So number 19, unable to release or express emotions and bottling up emotions. So literally, you close your energy. You're not releasing your fear, your anxiety, you're angry. You are remaining queen, ice queen. You cold, you cool. All of the emotions are bottled up. All of the emotions are energy. So if this energy sits inside you, you're not releasing it, you're not sharing your energy, where does this energy going to go? The energy goes into fat. Those of type of people who actually very cool, very calm, very poised and humongous, because in their behavior, in their childhood environment, it was not okay to cry. It was not okay to share anger. It was not okay to yell. So bottling this emotion, you bottling the energy inside of you, this energy must go somewhere. Okay? And it's multiple reasons where it can go, multiple versions, multiple ways where it can go. It can actually go into cancer. Like people like this usually suffer with a lot of cancers because the hive energy cells decide to divide. This energy grows into the cancerous production. But for some people, this energy goes into storing fat around your body. And it also comes into, next one is this two-faced people. So at work, you're this nice and fuzzy and you're, oh my God, you're so nice, you're smiling, you're always polite, and then you come home and you're like, husband, do this, kids, do this, you do this. And it's men and women. Men are the same. Men are absolutely professional, polite gentlemen at work, comes home and, okay, abusing the wife, abusing the children, screaming, yelling, and literally in your subconscious, in your psyche, this is 2 different people. It's like this personality, it's almost too big for the body. And I'm not talking about like bipolar or schizoaffective disorder or like multiple personality disorder. No, it's you were taught in your family that outside of the family we have to look this nice and fuzzy and white and like sparkly, and inside of the family we can do whatever we want. So there's many families like this, they're picture like from outside, and everybody look from outside and think, oh my god, what a beautiful family, well behaved kids, husband and wife love each other, there's the model for everybody, and then inside of the family it's like abuse and disaster. And so this type of environment, this is when your personality almost become too big for one body, and so the body grows twice the size. And I guess the last one, so last reason that I want to discuss with you today is actually overthinking. And it's overthinking, it's big hat. People are thinking, finding the reason, listening to many lectures, go to all of the seminars, know everything about food, they counting calories, they are weighing themselves every day, they're creating this chart, they're doing DEXA scan, they have Fitbit, they monitor everything, they know everything about everything, but they never take the action. Why? Because all of this energy actually goes into thought process and thinking, and never ever goes into actually action. Okay, let me guys check some chat. Okay, what recommendation do you have for breaking learned undesirable emotional and social habits associated with the food? Oh my god, Brittany, I love this question. This is one of my favorite questions. Thank you so much for asking. So number one is to actually admit that you have this emotion, admit that you have these beliefs, and write down all of these beliefs. What we talked about today, sit down, take 30 minutes, shut off everything, and just write down, what do you believe? Were you told that you cannot leave the table without finishing your plate? Okay, if this is your belief, write it down. Were you told that, okay, like, you have to be a good girl? Okay, this is your belief and this is what's coming. If you recognize yourself in any of these scenarios that we just discussed, write it down. This is a step number one. And then look at each of them and rewrite them. Rewrite them for yourself and start with the easiest one. Which one do you think is the easiest to fix? Start with the easiest one. For example, I was the one that my grandmother survived the Second World War, and we were in our family, we're never poor, like I only had one brother, so nobody ever took away food from me. But in my household, it was, I eat rotten pigeons, be grateful that you have food on your plate, how can you throw away the food? My grandmother is the person who collects the breadcrumbs and never wastes anything. And to me, to waste the food, this was really painful event that, like, I didn't even realize how painful it is for me to be wasteful. And literally I have to sit with this plate and look at this plate and say, okay, what's gonna happen if I'm gonna throw it away? Is my grandmother is gonna see me and she's gonna be like screaming, yelling? Okay, no, she's not seeing me. Okay, let me throw this away. And it literally, through desensitization, like the first months I was doing this habit, and I actually purposefully stopped collecting all of the leftovers. I was like, okay, we're not leaving any leftovers. I'm not gonna put anything in the boxes and eat it tomorrow. Okay, I'm just gonna throw it away. And I don't do it anymore, but this was like desensitization process when it was for my body, for my subconscious to start understanding that the world is not gonna end if I'm gonna throw away the food. I make enough money. I'm a self-sufficient person. I don't have to store the food for tomorrow. The war is not, the famine is not coming. Okay, so I don't need to store this extra fat. And like this desensitization process, like for the first week, like you should have seen me. I was almost like crying and, can I do this? Can I do this? Okay, I can do this. Okay, close the eyes, put it in the disposer, turn the disposer on, because seriously, I was to the point that I can throw away something and go pick it up from trash. This is how problematic this problem was to me. So any beliefs, any patterns that you have, number one, you must recognize them and write them down, and then start working one at a time. And I love desensitization. When you actually, lunch was my friends was another big one for me. I would eat lunch in the office because I'm trying to eat healthy, so I would bring my lunch from home, and then somebody, oh, let's go for lunch, and I just ate. And I literally made a point that I'm gonna eat every time, and if the friends call me, I am gonna go, and it's okay not to eat, or I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna miss an interaction. So working, understanding, and realizing that this is not helping you, this is hurting you. Stop blaming yourself for the fat, for being extra weight, and actually realizing the goal. What are you doing it for? Because a lot of people at age 32, when they had the baby, they decided that they want to be back to 125 pounds, and they actually never go to 125 pounds, and for next 30 years they keep trying to get to 135 pounds. And one of the humongous thing was actually came from my husband, that I was always want to get like to 125 pounds, and I got to 125 pounds, and then I gained to 135. And my husband told me that he actually likes me better at 135 pounds because I'm super flat, no chest, no breasts when I'm 125 pounds. And then I was like, why am I trying? Why I'm so addicted to this number of what do I actually want to do? What is my healthy BMI? When do I feel the most energy? And like, do I really look pretty, or this is just some unachievable number? So realizing your goal, and what do you want to do, and don't attach yourself to this number, and love your fat. Love your fat, because your body is so smart. When you have this fat, this is your body trying to tell you something is wrong. Your body is trying to communicate with you. So your fat, if you compare yourself to the car, so your extra weight is actually like this engine light that pops up in your car and telling you, oh, something is wrong, go do checkup. So when you gain this weight, don't be upset with you, don't be upset with the weight, don't be upset with being fat, be grateful. This is the signal, this is a communication, this is a symptom. Your body is trying to tell you, go have a checkup. Go have a medical checkup. If your thyroid is okay, if your adrenals are okay, are you getting diabetic, pre-diabetic? Go get a checkup. Go get your psychological checkup. What is going on? Am I not allowing myself pleasure? Am I not releasing my emotions? So your extra weight, love it. This is a language of your body that tells you that something is going on. Use it to your advantage. Use every knowledge, every what we discussed today, use it to your advantage. Amy, thank you so much for your comments. Let me see if it's any more comments, guys. 1 second. Okay. Okie dokie. So no more questions. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope it was very useful to you and you recognize some of your patterns. If you have other examples that you realize, why are you ever held or still holding onto your weight, I'm going to be more than grateful if you either write to me or share comments. And till the next time, be the best yourself.